Yes, it's time for the Tech Talk Show this afternoon. And today on the Tech Talk Show, we're going to be talking about how to optimize cost with SQL Server on Azure. And with me on today's episode, we have Mattias Lind. Good afternoon, Mattias.
Hi, Kasim. It's been a while.
Yes, it is. It is. So it's really good to have you on the Tech Talk Show with me today this afternoon, Mattias.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. So.
So really quickly before we start, let's meet you. So let's get to meet you before we start the show proper.
Yeah, that's cool. You remember when you and I met? We were running the open community for certified trainers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember the first ever MCT summit in Africa? Yes.
In Africa, that was in
Yeah.
Cameroon. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember me jumping off the stage?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that was one of my demos. I've been a Microsoft certified trainer since 2001, and I've been in IT since 1992. So that means that I've been doing a bit of this and a bit of that. My primary background is security and communication and network, and by accident I found this product called SQL Server, and I asked a professional, this SQL Server, what is that? And he said, no, it's called SQL Server. So since then, it's been part of my mission, tell everyone SQL Server. In 2011, I actually became an MVP. You're an MVP too as well, yes, Kasim?
Not yet, not
Not
yet.
yet.
Yes.
Yeah, but yes, just not aiming for becoming an MVP and just doing community stuff and share experiences. You might end up there too.
Yeah.
So in 2011, I became an MVP on SQL Server, and ever since then. So I'm actually celebrating my 9th award on my 10th year this year, and it's transformed from being just SQL Server architecture to the full Microsoft Data Platform, including analytics and visualization and so on. Yeah. With all this move into the cloud, it also covers parts of the cloud.
Yeah.
Today, I'm actually starting up my new cloud and data consultancy company. So it's exciting and busy days right now.
Okay, so it's good. That was a very good introduction. Thank you, Mattias. So today we're going to be looking at how best you can migrate your SQL Server to the Azure cloud. And so first, I want to start with this question for you, Mattias. Is Azure the best cost-effective place to run SQL Server in the cloud?
Yeah, it's a hard question actually. I would like to rephrase it. Is Microsoft Azure the most cost-effective cloud platform first?
Okay.
On that question, I would say, in my opinion, yes, because it's a cloud service from Microsoft, and it provides us pretty much everything from the Microsoft universe. But by that, I would say it's the most cost-effective. But together with that, I'd say it could be on a case by case as well, and provider per provider. I do not like to compare competitors in a talk like this. I think the competitors and the providers do that really good. But from what I've seen is that Microsoft usually wins in the cost perspective in the end. And when we are talking about cost effective and low cost, it doesn't always mean that it's the lowest price tag. You can buy something for let's say $10, and you can buy the same thing for $20. And sometimes the thing you buy for $20, which is identical to the thing you buy for $10, is actually more price worthy because it contains so much more around the product itself. So if we are coming from a Microsoft environment with Windows servers and Exchange and SharePoint and SQL Server or whatnot, I would say the most cost-effective cloud platform is Microsoft Azure. And actually, even if you come from other environments, it could be the most cost-effective cloud platform.
Okay. So another question is this: often we hear of software assurance, right? So what is software assurance? Yes, and how can we leverage on software assurance to get better pricing? Most especially with our SQL Server now, when we're migrating our SQL Server workload to the Azure cloud.
Yeah. So first of all, software assurance is a volume license program, or actually, it's actually an add-on on a volume license agreement that you can buy through Microsoft partners. And this volume license agreement is a thing to bring together all the bits and pieces that you need based on your needs, and then pay for it as a subscription. So depending on size and level of agreement, the software assurance is included either automatically or as a voluntary add-on. And it gives you a unique set of technologies, services, and rights to deploy, manage, and use Microsoft products more efficiently.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So will it be correct then to say that software assurance can also help us when we already have investments that we've made on our SQL Server on-prem when we're migrating to the cloud? Will it be correct to say that?
Yeah.
Can we
yes.
leverage? Yeah.
Yeah. So the software assurance includes benefits like the rights to new versions of software. You have a lot of planning tools. You have training vouchers. You have license mobility. That means that you can move a license from one platform to another. You have customer support. You have many different benefits. And if we are looking at an on-premise environment, that this benefit, the software assurance benefits, also gives you the rights to transfer licenses from your on-premise to the cloud. So it's usually, if we are looking at SQL Server, it's usually core by core. So if you have a core license on-premise, you can move this license up to the cloud and use that as a core license for example, an virtual machine running SQL.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know if this is also applicable for Windows servers as well?
Oh yes. It's actually for all these server products from Microsoft. So if you are moving an on-premise SQL server, it also contains an operating system. And if you are combining these things, you can actually have savings up to 85% in license costs if you are just transferring your licenses from on-premise to the cloud. And if you are doing this lift all, you actually get an 180-day grant period where you actually can run in parallel, both on-premise and in cloud, with the same license.
Yeah. Okay. So I also want to ask this now, from your experience working with SQL Server and also working with Azure, what are those tactics now that you've used in the past that you can recommend that can help us now reduce our spendings on Azure, that can help us reduce our spending when we're migrating our SQL workload to Azure?
Yeah. I'm going to combine a few answers on this, and if we are looking at how I would recommend anyone doing a migration, I would start first off actually looking at what consumptions they are running, they are doing, trying to analyze the environment they have. And there's a set of tools to be used for this. We have the Microsoft Assessment and Planning Toolkit that actually can do an inventory of your environment and give you suggestions of the servers and services you are having. I would also look at how this consumption runs, where we have users, and also how these applications we are running and how they are communicated to different services. So usually when we have databases, we have some kind of application in front of this. It could be a server-side application, or it could be a client-side application, or it could even be a consumption loads like users actually connecting directly to the database and writing queries for analytical purposes and so on. So when we are looking at this, we also need to see how these databases and applications might need to change, the impact of moving. As on-premise, you have a specific versions of something. You might have an older version of SQL, and you want to lift it up to maybe an Azure SQL database that is a platform as a service solution, where you don't need to worry about the server part at all. You only worry about the data. You can use a tool called Data Migration Assistant to actually see the impact of the move and get recommendations of how you need to change stuff.
Okay. You know, for businesses that are running stable workloads, we understand, you know, they might be able to afford the regular pricing model, you know, on Azure. But what do you say about businesses that are not very stable in terms of their utilization of SQL Server on Azure? What would you recommend? What would your recommendation be for those people?
Yeah, so we have different sets of destinations for our migration. So if we start in one end and just thinking about virtual machines, we can use this as an infrastructure as a service platform, okay, and just run our machines. That means that we need to maintain and manage operating systems and configurations of SQL, for example. We need to make sure that we run patches and stuff. So that's one way of using the cloud. And the other one is using it as a platform as a service option, where we actually have, for example, not an SQL server to maintain, but just the database itself. And by that you can work with both serverless compute and provision compute, which is like two ways of seeing it. So if you have low or random usage of a database, for an example, you can choose the serverless compute option, which is billed per second. And if you have heavy loaded database that needs to be online and responsive 24/7, you might need to have provision compute nodes for those databases instead, and by that paying maybe per hour. And with this, you have a more price-friendly setup. Make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. It does. We also need to look at pricing. You know, it's not just talking SQL on Azure now. The focus is on how best to reduce our spending when migrating SQL to Azure. So I want to ask now, how can one tell that we're sizing our SQL Server workload correctly, so that you know, we're not spending too much, we're getting the best when it comes to costing? Is there a tool that we can leverage on that would advise us with regards to sizing? Yes.
Yeah, I would say that there are a few tools that we can leverage for this. First of all, we have the data migration assistant, which helps you to upgrade to a modern data platform, and detecting compatibility issues and so on, and also give you recommendations on what target you should aim for. And this is a tool that you can run by yourself, and it gives you it does an assessment of your environment, and it gives you suggestions. If we are looking at this from the Azure platform perspective, there's the Azure Data Migration Services, which is a fully managed service that actually runs for you and actually doing the migrations for you. And then if we are looking at cost itself, we have a huge set of guides for estimating pricing for different environments, and within your Azure subscription, you also have the Azure Cost Management Platform, which gives you an assessment and control of your actual usage. So if we are looking at how should we scale things, I usually say try to scale as small as possible, because everything can always be scaled up.
Yes.
Yeah. It's when you have services moving from an on-premise environment to a cloud environment, and you might need to change those mid-tier applications, they might change also the way they are working with the underlying data layers. So sometimes it can be a bit hard to do a correct assessment of the price itself. What I've seen is when we are combining and going from on-premise to a hybrid or a cloud-only solution is if you are running through a volume license agreement, the software assurance benefits actually gives you a lot of cost savings.
Okay.
It's a really complex question, actually. So a lot of this is actually guessing, and usually it depends a bit on from business to business.
Okay. So you've mentioned the ACM now, which is the Azure Cost Management, and you've also mentioned the data migration tool. So what's the difference between these two with regards to cost optimization?
Oh yeah. So the DMA, or the data migration advisor, is a tool for understanding what you are having and how it will look, you know. So it gives you recommendations of, yes, this database could be an Azure SQL database, or you need to put this server as a managed instance, or you need to put this server as a virtual machine. And this server contains so old software that you actually need to either stay on the old or upgrade to new version. And if you're upgrading the new version, you actually need to do these changes. Yeah. The Azure Cost Management is a service that contains a wide set of features for analyzing and optimizing the costs themselves. So they can look at what you are consuming now, and they can give you I'm trying to find the word of looking into the future. They can predict costs for you over time. It also contains the Azure Advisor that can help you optimize by actually taking advantage of how you are using it and combining your actual usage of your actual subscription and comparing it to others. That's the smart part of the Azure Advisor, which is part of the Azure Cost Management service. And by that, helping you to find and fine-tune and right-sizing and removing idle resources.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say DMA is something you start with, and ACM is something you live with.
Okay, okay, very well then. So I also want to ask, from your experience now, is it cheaper to stay on premises with SQL Server, or is it best to migrate to Azure, with your SQL Server? So what would you recommend?
Yeah. If you see it like this, if you believe that your hardware will continue to run forever, and you never need to update and patch your operating systems and services, and that everything will be the same forever, I would say it would be cheaper to just keep what you are having and live with that forever. But we all know that's not the reality. Things break, you need to upgrade. Hardware becomes old and slow, and we need to have more performance sometimes, and sometimes we have overcommissioned performance. I've seen customers buying servers for millions of dollars, and they could set it with a $50,000 server. So not having to live with those mistakes and move on to a scalable platform that can scale for forever and become how performant or cost saving as you need is always better. So if you believe that your reality will stay the same and you don't need to do anything else and you don't need to add anything, yeah, it might be. But I think in an environment like that, if you just shift them up to virtual machines and keep them as virtual machines, you probably will run that environment for the same cost as you pay just on your electricity bill.
Okay, that's true.
That's true. So with the future and how things become more cloud aware, or maybe cloud only solutions, and having the cloud as your data center, it's like you have a perfect data center that you can scale how much you need when you need it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very, very well said. Thank you very much for that response. So because of time and to try to wrap things up now, is there something you want to show us on the portal to help us connect the dots with today's topic?
Oh yeah. I can show you how to get started with an Azure migration and actually start how you find the data migration tool.
Okay, that's very
that's
fine then. That's
a good wrap up, because in that case we make everyone start to do the migration and then we get more work.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah. So it's okay for me to share the screen?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, let's try this. Hopefully I don't have any secrets in front of us. So what we see here is actually the product Azure Migrate, and that's like the central hub of all cloud migration services. So it's not just only for data migration, it's actually for all the migration needs you have. And you have a lot of information that you can read up on here. And my recommendation is, before you do step 3 that we are jumping down to, you read through this. What I also recommend when you are doing a migration, most organizations do one migration at a time, and they don't do that really often. So I usually recommend every organization trying to find a partner that works with these migrations, so you can learn from others' mistakes, and having a fresh set of eyes looking at your environment and your needs. And with that, maybe have an how should we call this, an external architect reviewing your environment, and that's one of the cost savings, because by eliminating unnecessary services that you are running, you save money as well. So what I do here, I read everything and I remember everything. I don't care about setting the size so you can read. I just show you that there's a lot of information, and then we have the get started easily, which contains of 3 steps. First of all, you need to have an Azure account. And here you actually have a link to create your own Azure account, and you can actually create a free trial and do this as well. The second bullet is learn how to use this tool, and you have all the documentations and all the help you need to actually get started here more in detail than I do. And the third bullet is actually launching the Azure Migrate to start the migration project, which I did right now. So this is how the tool looks in the portal. I hope you can see it, and I hope it's in English. I'm in Sweden, you know, so if it had been in Swedish, it would still say Windows and Linux and SQL, but it would be other words for the other stuff.
Yeah.
And as you can see, as the title here, migrate your on-premises data center to Azure. So what I would like to try now, like just ad hoc and test, is actually to assess and migrate one of my servers to move it up to Azure. We will not do the assessment itself because it may take time and I might have sensitive data on the server, but I can show you the way to get started. Is that cool?
That's fine. That's
fine. So what I do is start to assess and migrate, and I end up just in a guide where it says no tools added. Click add tools. So I need to add some tools for this. And the first thing I actually need is a resource group where I need to put this. So I'm going to create a small resource group. This resource group is where we combine everything and get all the reports and stuff.
Okay.
Then I call this migration project something. So let's move this 2017 server I have. And then I choose my geography, and that's kind of crucial as well because I need to push data back and forth, and I need to maybe move virtual machines. So for me, it's really crucial to use Europe here, because if I were to use like Australia, it would be really, really slow.
Okay.
Then I press next, and then I end up in an select assessment tool. So I can choose to use the free Azure Migrate Database Assessment tool, or I could use a third party like the Unified Cloud Pilot. I never tested that one, but what I can see from here is they support the same thing. I will try the Unified Cloud Pilot someday, but now we stick with the Azure Migrate tool. Then I do a next. Then I select my tool, and then I do a next. And then I actually need to press add tools again. Really, really strange. And this actually creates the resource group, and hopefully we'll have it up and running. And the next step is actually to download the data migration assessment tool and install it. And after that, you actually start your first assessment. And for that, you have your documentation here. So if I press assess, I need to start my data migration assistant toolkit. And I think that wraps it up. I think we've been talking for 30 minutes now. I actually have a meeting that I need to run to.
Okay.
I think for me to start this against the server might show a bit sensitive stuff. So I don't dare to do that.
Okay, that's very much, that's very fine, Mattias. Thank you so much for coming on today's show with me. But just in case, if people would like to ask you questions themselves, do you mind to share your social media handle? they
Yes.
can reach you on.
Yeah. So I would say like this: use any search engine and type Mattias as SQL. You probably find my LinkedIn page.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think we can create a virtual business card to add in the comments
Okay.
afterwards.
Okay. Okay. All right. No problem at all. So it's past 2 o'clock now. So thank you so much, Mattias, for coming on today's episode of the show. And I can see Vladimir also logged in, and he's saying hello. He sent his greeting from Serbia here. So I guess he's saying
Hello,
hello to you.
Serbia.
All right.
Yes.
So
So I
thank
hope you
you.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed this. We can do more talks if you want.
No problem. Sure. So I'll definitely be sending some more invites in the future. So thank you everyone for also being part of today's episode. Continue to stay safe, and we'll continue this again next week. So from myself and Mattias, it's a bye-bye and it's a wrap.